Hi, welcome back to the channel and my tier list ranking for horror movies from the 2020s. So I did do a top 10 horror movies from this decade a few years ago now, but it is feeling a little bit outdated. So I thought I'd update it today for a 2025 edition in this huge tier list covering over 40 horror movies. So these are obviously not going to be everything that was released in the last 5 years, but it's a lot of the big hitters, the culturally relevant ones to the genre, and movies that people have talked about a lot within the horror community. So covering a little bit of everything here, and I'm going to wrap them all into a big tier ranking for you today. So here's my tier list. We've got the movies here. We've got 5 different tiers. There is classic in the making, watch it, one off, skip it, and junk. So that's going to be my 5 tiers, and we'll get straight into this now, starting off with Smile. And Smile, I actually think is a fairly decent movie. I saw it when it came out of cinema. I think it's got quite a bit of punch to it. I think it's got a great finale. It was quite scary seeing it in the big screen. I think it's got some really effective moments in it, and it's fairly well put together. I just think it has got a sense of familiarity about it. It's definitely not the most original movie here. It's definitely taking beats from The Ring and The Grudge and those kind of ideas with this curse following you. So it's definitely not got points for originality, but the trailer made it look really generic, and I was actually pleasantly surprised when I went out to see this one. Probably would still only be a one-off watch, I think. You know, definitely worth a watch, this one, but wouldn't go any further with that. Smile 2 as well kind of feels similarly about this film. In some ways it does feel like a bit of progression just in the way it's made, and I do think the lead actress, Naomi Scott, I believe her name is, she's really captivating to watch. She kind of carries the movie in a lot of ways, and there's some sequences I really like in there. My issue with this film, it doesn't really stick the landing. I think the finale is a little bit of a letdown, to be honest, especially compared to the first films. They've kind of both got ups and downs. Overall, I like them about the same, I would say, but yeah, both only one-off watches. Next up here, I've got Final Destination Bloodlines. This is a movie that is seriously overrated in my opinion. I was really excited going into this after seeing the reviews. It's just like every other Final Destination movie to me. Like, I think the opening sequence is great, but once it gets past that, like, that was really impressive. I thought, oh, maybe they have really upped their game here. But after that, it is just more Final Destination shit that we've seen a ton of times before. I don't know. The characters were particularly irritating as well. There's a lot more CGI in this one. I'm just about going to give it a one-off because I do have some guilty pleasure with this franchise, and I don't really think it's a big step up or down. I think it's just perfectly in keeping of the standard of the rest of the movies. So, yeah, worth a one-off watch, but I would say don't believe the hype on that one. So now we've got Ty West's X trilogy. Series of movies I actually really like, particularly this first one. I think X is the best of the trilogy. It's a real kind of throwback to your 70s horror, just with a real nice sheen to it. It's really tightly directed by Ty West. And of course it's led by Mia Goth, just one of the best actresses working right now, especially in horror. And I just think this movie's got it's got a real energy about it. It's a really good slasher, and definitely one of the best ones we've had in the past few years, I would say. Really great start to this trilogy. Really like this as well, Pearl, the prequel. I mean, in terms of a prequel, kind of changing the style and the tone to fit that 20s aesthetic, I think they did a really nice job with. Ty West, again, did a really nice job of directing it. It feels like quite a different movie to X as well, whilst being kind of in keeping with the themes and the story, which I really liked. Didn't like it quite as much as X, but I'm definitely intrigued to go back and see this one again. And yeah, Mia Goth gives a pretty staggering performance in this. She's really, really impressive. So definitely worth watching for that alone. Maxine, not gonna lie, Maxine is kind of the letdown for me of this trilogy. I think it's still an okay film, and I'm gonna just about put it in one off, just because I think it is worth seeing to complete and round off the trilogy. Like, it does wrap up certain storylines. I just don't think in a particularly satisfying way. Some of the subplots within it were interesting. and were good to watch. There's good things about it. It's just a very muddled film. It's very stuffed with different plot lines. It's covering lots of different ideas. I found, as I said, the ending kind of silly and unsatisfying in a lot of ways. And yeah, haven't gone back to it. I'm not entirely sure about that as a conclusion. But as I say, if you've seen the first two, I do think it's worth still watching it. It's okay. It was just a disappointment. Oh God. Next up, we've got Halloween Kills, the second part of David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy. 18 was definitely a very hyped film within the horror community, and I do quite like that movie. I thought it was a decent start. It's still a flawed film, but I enjoy watching it. This follow-up, I still think it's entertaining, but it's not a great film. It's really not a great film. I'm gonna put this one and skip it. There's just so many things they do with the characters which don't really work for me. The kind of the direction they take Laurie, like how just dead on revenge she is, just comes across kind of like unconvincing to me. Some of the dialogue and the sort of mob mentality throughout the film is kind of handled in a way that isn't natural, so it's off-putting and it's a little bit cringeworthy to watch at times. There's a particular sequence as well in the hospital which I really don't like. Where the townspeople kind of mistake the guy for Michael Myers. That's just really rough, really rough. But I can still watch it. It's got a lot of crazy Michael Myers kills. There is some good moments here and there, but not a good movie. Definitely not a good movie. So here we've got completing the Halloween trilogy, which was Halloween Ends, which is a totally bizarre film, and I'm still not sure, even now, 3 years after having seen it, I'm still not sure how I feel about it. I kind of like the unique aspect of it. It is weird, and it's definitely not the direction I would have taken it if I had any creative control over this franchise, but when I was watching it, I was pleasantly surprised by how odd, and yeah, it was just kind of surprising. That's the thing, is the surprise and the directions they decided to take it made it intriguing to watch. But it's a weird film. Again, I'm going to put this in one off just because I still think it is quite well done for what it is, but I do totally understand for people who love the Halloween franchise why they're like, what the hell is this? I can totally understand that. But a better film than Kills, I think. Oh, okay, next up we've got Exorcist Believer. This is another David Gordon Green film. We've got a lot of kind of delayed sequels from 1970s horror films in this list, where they decided to bring it back, bring the original characters back, and I just think he handled this film really badly. I think the first 20 minutes of it is quite good, the setup with the girls going missing, but everything after that, it just goes really downhill. When you bring back in Ellen Burstyn's character, it loses something and then just basically goes downhill and eventually off a cliff towards the end of this. I was not impressed with the movie at all. It's not scary in the slightest, which is another thing about it. It's a waste of time, and I'm pretty sure now the whole thing has been cancelled, like the whole idea on it, because it didn't do well. It was critically panned, and for good reason. I wouldn't quite go as bad as saying it's junk, because it's kind of watchable in a way, and I think again there's some good moments in it, but it's at this point you realise that David Gordon Green is not a great director, and I think he got a little bit lucky perhaps with Halloween 2018. Next up, we've got 28 Years Later. I haven't really talked about this on the channel recently. I haven't been doing as many sort of new reviews. I like the movie. It's definitely unusual, and it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but the fact that Danny Boyle and Alex Garland were collaborating again to come back to this trilogy or franchise, I knew it was going to be something a little bit more out there. They weren't going to come back and make a generic zombie action movie. Like, I've heard about what they think of 28 Weeks Later. So there was no way they were going to do that. I think it's not as good as 28 Days. To me, that's a perfect film. And this didn't quite live up to that. But I definitely enjoyed some of the directions they went with this, especially with Ralph Fiennes' character as well, I liked. And I think it has some really interesting elements, great performances. And it's just kind of cool how it's done. The fact it was shot on iPhones. They've got this really interesting cutting where they kind of put old footage and stuff in there as well to make it a little bit more artistic. And it goes in some interesting directions. There's quite a lot of discussion you can have about this one, especially when you get to that whole bizarre ending, which I won't spoil here just because I know this is still a fairly new movie. But I get why people are a bit more divided on this, but I actually quite like it. Again, not quite top tier with this, but it was pretty good, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again. Okay, for anyone fans of this, it's going to get me in trouble a bit because we've got them 2 Terrifier films next, 2 and 3, which I am not massive fans of. And I do appreciate that, this director, Damien Leone, he's obviously very passionate about these projects, and he's put his own money and time, and he really wants this thing to work, and it's doing extremely well. Like, people love it. It's done well at the box office given its budget. Like, I saw one of the old Terrifier short years and years ago and was like, what the hell am I watching? And it was bizarre last year to see in my Odeon a great big Terrifier 3 poster on the wall at an actual Odeon, filling out, full theatre seatings, which was quite mad. Me personally, though, I do find the films underwhelming, to say the least. I find them kind of self-indulgent. This is a kind of grotesque throwback slasher film, like kind of really grindhouse-style horror film and slasher. And it's 2.5 hours long. It's like the length of The Shining, which is just absolutely outrageous. If this had been like 70 to 80 minutes, I could probably almost give it a pass, but it's that running time is just ridiculous for this level of movie. And I do think as well the best thing about it is the clown design and the actor who plays him. He's very talented, but the rest of the cast leaves a lot to be desired. I don't think the director fully understands kind of building true tension. So the movie's not scary, it is just kind of disgusting to watch. It's not actually a truly scary movie like a lot of the others on this list. So not really for me, guys, gotta say. So I'm going to advise you skip Terrifier 2 and also 3. I think 3 was a touch better. But even still, it's obviously it's got a higher budget, it's got a better cast in there. But again, doesn't really impress me that much. They have to really shorten these movies, build a more interesting story, and get a better cast, and maybe a better director as well. To be honest, before I could kind of get on board with this one, I'm still a little bit surprised at the amount of love this has got. But there we go. Okay, next up, I'll do Talk to Me first, because this is the Philippou, I think that's how they pronounce their name, the Philippou brothers. They're the 2 YouTubers who got their movie picked up from an Australian film festival from A24. Obviously, all you guys know about Talk to Me, been a huge horror film of the past few years, and in my mind, this is the gold standard of horror of the 2020s. I feel like if you watch this film and you're not on board with it, you don't like the style, the tone, the direction, the acting, you can probably guess where you're going to feel on a lot of other 2020s horror. I feel like this one has kind of set the tone in a lot of ways of the direction in which horror is going. Because I grew up in a very different time of horror, watching 80s, 90s, 2000s stuff. And you look at the 2020s horror now, it's a very different style to it. And I think Talk to Me is a good kind of showing of that. I think it's a brilliant movie. I absolutely love it. I think the direction was fantastic. It was unique. It's a great premise. The lead actress is amazing. And it just flies past at breakneck speed. It's pretty creepy. And just love this film. I think it's got a great atmosphere to it. I really enjoy watching it. I think I've seen it like 4 times now. So I think these are really brilliant directors. I loved Bring Her Back as well, which I'll get into in a sec. But this to me is one of the big standouts, if not maybe my favourite horror movie yet we've had in the 2020s. I think it's fantastic. And of course we've got Bring Her Back as well, which is slightly lower than Talk to Me. Sorry, lower for me than Talk to Me. Still really liked this one. It's a very dark and depressing film. And it's powerful though. The final scene really did kind of break me. It took me a while to get up out of the cinema again after seeing that, because just the way it's handled, the direction it went, I think it's really well handled. But it's very dark. It's the sort of movie you're kind of happy you've seen once and then you're done with it. But I think it's really well done. The performances are brilliant. And it's a really good film. It just, I guess, doesn't quite have the rewatchability that something like Talk to Me does. because that's a film you can rewatch, you can have fun with, but it's dark as well, whereas Bring Her Back is really, really sombre. I really advise you to watch it though if you haven't seen this yet. It's obviously quite a new movie, but it's definitely worth your time and money. But yeah, it's a pretty dark and depressing film. Okay, so next up we've got Alien Romulus, the latest movie in the Alien franchise. Definitely the kind of movie that's paying a lot of homage to the original two. I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise. I love Alien, love Aliens. I'm even one of the weird people that enjoys Alien 3 as well. And I enjoy Prometheus. That's another one that people don't particularly like. I think this movie's really good, but in hindsight, I do think it's a little bit safe in some ways. I actually wasn't against the kind of weirder directions they were going with stuff like Prometheus. It was really in keeping in a lot of ways with sort of the themes of the original, and I like all of that kind of stuff. And this movie, whilst it is entertaining, I maybe would have liked it to go a little bit deeper again. It is kind of a blending of all the films, but it's a little bit more of a straightforward horror action film. But I definitely did enjoy it. I think Fede Alvarez is a really good, solid director. It was a great choice for the movie. And I really did enjoy this one. So it's just about getting in to watch it. But this is definitely one I'll watch again. And it's probably overall still one of the stronger films in the Alien franchise. Okay, next movie on the list. This one obviously is getting a lot of talk at the moment because of the director, Zach Cregger, and his new film Weapons. This was his first film, Barbarian. I love this film. I think the amount of creativity on show with a limited budget is just pretty fantastic. It's one of those kind of movies where you genuinely do not predict where this thing is going. And I love how it kind of split up the different acts. I love how it blended comedy and horror. I think the opening sequence is really quite unnerving. Like, I saw this in a cinema on my own and it was quite an experience. And this to me is the kind of movie I'm talking about with sort of the newer, bolder, more creative stuff we're getting now. When you compare this to other movies we've had the last few years, I do think sometimes horror slipped into a little bit of a slump, kind of the way the Conjuring universe is going. We've kind of seen it all before, and it's stuff like Barbarian that are movies that get you excited again. So yeah, got to have that up in classic in the making for what he managed to do with that budget and as a first time filmmaker. It's fantastic, really cracking stuff, love it. And of course his new film Weapons, which I think is even better than Barbarian. I've been out to see this twice already. Again, haven't done a review for this yet. It's an excellent film, unbelievably creative. I love the setup, the mystery, the way the kind of chapters are telling the story from different angles, and you're kind of unravelling things as you go along. It keeps you guessing the whole way. Again, it's genuinely quite an unnerving and scary film, but it also has some really great comedy in there as well. I didn't realise the director is actually a comedian, which it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of comedians turn horror directors like Jordan Peele as well. Which is great because I think the way they kind of infuse horror and comedy together is really nicely handled here. But what a cracking movie. It's got some really good scenes in it, particularly good sequences, some shocking stuff in there. I think it really works. Again, this is another example of one of these films. These top three, classic in the making for me. These are three kind of films that are setting the tone for 2020's horror. If you don't like these, you're probably not in for this new kind of evolution of horror. But I absolutely love it. Next up, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. This is a film that a lot of people were talking about when it came out. I don't mind it. I probably would just about put it in skip it, though I don't actually. I would say it's just below a one-off watch. The characters are a little bit difficult, especially if you're like me and you're getting a little bit older, and just the language and the way they're joking and the dialogue of this movie is not difficult to follow, but it's just a little bit grating, is what I would say. And I get they're kind of playing it in a way where it's a little bit self-aware and they're having fun with it. And I do think the performance is good. I think Rachel Sennott, if that's who pronounce her name, but she's really funny in the film. Like, her real hysterical performance is quite entertaining. And there's some good elements to it, but it's a little bit grating. It's one of those that I don't think I'd want to watch again, but it's kind of on the verge between skip it and one off. Bones and All, this is an interesting one. I'm going to put this in one off. I like the performances. I do think the film is a little bit cold though. The romance and the chemistry between the two leads, I didn't really get that invested. I think that's where the film kind of lost me a little bit. They could have found a way to kind of engage me more in that romance, make me really believe why these people have this undying need and love for each other. It didn't really have that. It is just kind of a lot of shock and gross out moments. It's got a nice atmosphere, and it is an odd film. It's a Luca Guadagnino film, and I do think he does direct it well. And there's some good scenes and moments in it, but it's a bit grimy, and it doesn't really give you anything to kind of go back to, I don't think. In terms of the deeper story there, I don't think there's enough going on. But the guy who plays the main cannibal, the kind of villainous guy, is it Mark Rylance? I think that's the actor's name, but he's really good. He's actually really good. He gives a good performance in it, and he's worth watching for him. But know the audience with this one. This is an acquired taste, I would say. Companion, loved it. Seen it 3 times already. I'm really annoyed they kind of spoiled the movie with all the trailers. Like, even that poster. Like, look at that poster. That is a spoiler in itself. Actually, don't look at the poster if you haven't seen it yet. It really annoys me how they spoiled that in the marketing, because the twists in the film are really much better when you don't know it's coming. But loved it. Great performance. Sophie Thatcher, great idea. It's tight. It's got a great soundtrack. Love this movie. So rewatchable as well. Definitely one of the best of the year so far. Next up is Evil Dead Rise. This is a film I'm a little bit torn on, because it's weird where I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this in one off, but I have seen the film a number of times already. It's one of those films I was excited to see when it came out because I love the franchise. I was looking forward to it, and the trailers looked great. And I think I just got caught up in the hype of a new Evil Dead film. But on reflection, watching it a few times, I don't know if it's that good. There's something missing from it, I think. The tower block setting is quite good, but I kind of do prefer that cabin in the woods setting. Like, to me, that's just kind of a more exciting, isolated location. Just looks more interesting as well. It's got a nicer atmosphere, I think. Like the Evil Dead remake, I'm a huge fan of that film. I think that's kind of set up a lot better, and it's darker and a bit more unsettling. It just works a little bit better. Evil Dead Rise just kind of feels like a watered down version of the remake. Again, not a bad film. I like it, but it's like a 3 out of 5 for me now, I'd say. So kind of sitting right in the middle. Heretic's another one. I'm kind of in between one off and watch it. I'm going to go one off just because I think this movie's a little bit overrated and overhyped. Hugh Grant's performance is really good. I love the way he's going in his career, trying out these experimental kind of different roles rather than his old role that he got typecast in for 20 years. I enjoy that. I think the film maybe in some ways, not that it thinks it's smarter than it is, but I think the dialogue that a lot of people love, if you're used to having or interested in those type of conversations, this movie is still quite surface level. So I think it does feel like it thinks it's a bit more deep and philosophical than it actually is. And it's, as a horror film, it still works quite well. I enjoyed watching it, but that's probably where it ends for me, I would say. And also, I don't think this gave Sophie Thatcher's character... Like, Sophie Thatcher's a great actress, obviously she was in Companion, but I don't think this movie gave her the time to really shine. Like, in this one, because she plays a very annoying character, she and the other girl playing these two Mormons, and you never really kind of get on side with them. They're ridiculously naive in the way they come across to her and stuff, and there's something just not particularly likeable about them, so it just kind of feels like events unfolding and feeling like you're really there in the shoes of the character, which is a bit off. So mixed on it. It's a good film, but yeah, not as good as some people might say. Oh, this is not a good one. This is one that I did not like, and am I going to put this in junk? There's nothing been in junk yet. You can tell I'm a bit more of a generous reviewer than a lot of people. Yeah, 'cause I do tend to enjoy my movies, but I think this might have to go in there. I think the Texas Chainsaw, this is the Texas Chainsaw sequel, the 2022 Netflix film. I think it's got to go in junk. Again, it's obviously copying the Halloween 2018 thing, bringing back an old character, but it doesn't work here because you don't have the original actress. I kind of think the whole reason for doing that is gone when it's like you brought the character back, but it's not the same actress, so people just don't really care the same. Doesn't particularly work. I think the story for the film is kind of a little bit laughable in a way, like these Gen Zers going out to kind of do up parts of this kind of rural outback area in Texas. It's a bit silly. The whole thing is a bit silly. I really didn't like the way the film looked. Like, they really overuse green screen in this film. Like, even the poster on Netflix, like the initial graphic when you hover over the film on Netflix, is that shot of Leatherface coming out of the crops. And that is obviously like a green screen. It's like, why have you got a horror film where you can't even shoot a person standing in a crop field? I don't understand that. It's kind of like Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Like, why is the woods or outside a door green screened? And that's what they do in this film. So a lot of it looks just slightly weird and waxy and unnatural, and it's a shit movie, if we're being honest. It's not good. It's really not good. And this was backed by Fede Alvarez as well, so not sure what he was doing here, but the movie is just not great. Not great at all. Okay, next up we've got here Last Night in Soho. Really enjoy this film. I'm going to put it in watch it. It's an Edgar Wright film. I think it's really well directed. Love the setting, obviously in 60s London, which is just an amazing aesthetic that I love. Kind of all the references to old Bond and all that kind of stuff is amazing. Anya Taylor-Joy as well in this film is just so striking. Like, her dance sequences, you're absolutely captivated with it. I think it drops the ball a little bit at the ending. I think the whole kind of conclusion and final sequence is a bit underwhelming, perhaps. Once it lets on the kind of where the twist is going and you know what's going on, it kind of has a nice build to that, but then it kind of runs out of steam a little bit and goes a bit off the rails for my liking. But still, good movie. Longlegs, another one. I'm torn between one off and watch it, because I do think it's good. I'm going to go one off in this one. I've only seen it once and I haven't gone back to it, so for that reason I am going to go one off. I love the first half of this. I love Michael Monroe. It's got a really nice sense of dread in the build-up. Like, before you actually see the killer and what's going on, and that's kind of they're unravelling this mystery and trying to understand what this guy is about. I loved all of that stuff. Like, when we were left in the dark about what's happening and you're just following it through the girl's perspective, it really works. I love Nicolas Cage, but I'm not sure he was the right casting for this movie. It's really over the top and it just feels a little bit out of place at times. And I don't like the movie kind of loses its grounding in the second half, where I was really intrigued to see how they were going to explain certain things, and it's like, oh, it's supernatural, okay. So, yeah, it doesn't go the direction I would have wanted to go, I don't think, in the second half, but it's still a very good film, and that's definitely one that I understand people, why they love it so much. This movie I was kind of torn and thought I liked at first, but I'm actually going to put this one and skip it, which is going to be controversial, because Late Night with the Devil is a movie that I know a lot of people really like. I do like the setting and the lead actor. Is it David Dalmatian? I can't fully remember his name, but I kind of like the setup, this idea of the kind of the radio talk show where people are brought into a studio and he's kind of got there's another sinister motive going on. It's quite a cool setup. I just think the way the film is handled in the second half and the way it kind of leads up to the first scene of horror, and just there's something a bit clunky and awkward about it, the way it kind of wraps up. And stylistically it kind of loses itself halfway through, like it's watching through the perspective of like a viewer, an audience watching through the screen, and then it kind of turns into more of a theatrical movie style, which is a little bit strange. So I could go one off. I'm going to... Actually, I know, I've been being a bit harsh. I'm going to go one off on that one, because I think it's probably worth a watch, because I know a lot of people like it. But yeah, it's all right. It's okay. Malignant, another one. Controversial one, I'm sorry, but I don't really like it. This was James Wan, basically, obviously wanting to show that he's not just a blockbuster guy and he can go back to his roots and do a grimy, weird horror film. And that's what he does here. I just didn't think it was that interesting, to be honest. I found the twist a little bit predictable, just because I have seen this kind of thing done in other movies before. It's definitely taken influence from other older horror films. So if you've seen older like 80s stuff, where the direction this thing goes will not be that shocking, I don't think. And I just think all of the crazy action stuff towards the end, it's kind of more funny in some ways than it is, unnerving or intense to watch. I don't know, maybe I was just in the wrong mood or tired when I watched it. I saw everyone raving about it, I gave it a go, and I was like, I think this one is massively overhyped, so not 100% on that. Megan, it's fun. Good movie. Like the girl who plays I like the actress who plays Megan. She does a nice job with it. Obviously, it did really well. Shame that I saw the sequel has bombed. I haven't actually seen the sequel yet, so I didn't add it to this list. But I think Megan's a cool idea. Kind of obviously more tapping into the AI fears, which is relevant. It's a good movie for the time, and it's a fun watch. It's just not particularly ambitious. You know, it probably maybe could have done a little bit more. But overall, the movie's enjoyable. Nope is another one that I'm kind of conflicted on, where I like the film. I like a lot of elements about it. Jordan Peele, for me, when Get Out came out, I am one of the people that think Get Out is one of the best horror films we've had of the last 10, 15 years. I love it. And he's kind of disappointed me ever since. Didn't really like Us that much. And Nope, I like Nope more than Us. But I think it loses itself towards the end. Like the third act is a bit of a mess, if I'm being frank. I don't like the direction it goes, but I do think it's got some amazing sequences. I loved the setup. The trailer and the idea for this movie was amazing, and I was so excited for it. And I did leave the cinema with my friends thinking, oh, he just hasn't quite got there again. So it's a disappointment, unfortunately, with Nope. But it's still good. It's still worth a watch. Nosferatu, another one-off. Liked the film, like the director Robert Eggers. This definitely feels like his safest movie to me. This feels like the safest movie. I think the thing is, I've seen a number of the Nosferatu films, the original 20s version, the first movie. I've seen the Nosferatu the Vampire, the Werner Herzog one, the German one from the 70s. And once you've seen this story, that's it. It's kind of that's all there is to it. There's no kind of twist on it or something different or new being done. It's very faithful to the old book, and it's telling the same story again. And when you know that, it is a little bit plodding to me. And while stylistically, like, he's obviously, because Eggers is such a good director, he does create an amazing look and atmosphere to the film. But I wanted it to go a little bit more unique with his kind of flair that he brings to his weirder horror film. Stuff like The Lighthouse, The Witch. Love that stuff. This one felt a little bit safe to me. Still a good movie and worth watching, but if you've seen the Nosferatu story, I don't think there's much more to be gained from seeing this one. Prey, one of the first movies I reviewed on this channel, probably an awful review. I actually really liked the film though. I'm going to put that up in Watch It. Love this Predator movie. Again, not hugely ambitious, but I like the idea they do of it, going back to kind of setting it as a period piece. It's like 16th or 17th century, with these kind of Comanche warriors, and I like the lead girl. She's really good, and the Predator action is exciting. I think it's just a really good, fun, solid Predator film. It does take a little bit of time to get going, but it looks really great, the film. Like the way the film's directed and just kind of the whole visuals of it, it just looks pretty cool. I enjoy this one quite a bit. This is a movie I'd very happily go back to and watch time and time again. I think the final sequence as well is really quite exciting. So one of the best Predator films, I'd say. Next up, I can't remember what this is. Quiet Place Part 2. That's what that is. Quiet Place Part 2, solid. Really solid. Up there and watch it. Really good sequel. Love the original, and I thought this sequel did a really nice job, I think. Love the introduction of Cillian Murphy being here. I think he really brought an interesting dynamic to the film after the conclusion of the first one. I think there's some really great sequences in it. I like the kind of thing as well where they have that interaction with another human group that pose a threat, but they don't overdo it like a lot of kind of apocalyptic films do. Like these things have been done to death with series, Walking Dead, all this sort of stuff. So I like that they kind of just experiment with a few things in there and nothing feels like it outstays its welcome. But it's just another tight Quiet Place film, really nicely done. Enjoy that one a lot. Haven't got Quiet Place Day 1 on here. Kind of forgot to put that one on here. Although that was it's a prequel and more of a sidestep, I guess, in the story. I enjoyed that as well. But I hope they do a true follow-up to the second part because, I like the direction that this franchise is going. Saw 10. I'm going to give Saw 10 a one-off watch. Good Saw film, good solid Saw film. Definitely kind of a return to form, if you can call it that. I love the original. I think James Wan gets a lot of crap from people for his first Saw film now, because some people look back and they're like, oh, it's not that good, it's not that impressive. If you look back at the story of Saw and how that was made, the limited budget and the time they had to make that, they were basically, him and Leigh Whannell were like student filmmakers. They made it with like a few $100,000, and what they managed to pull off with that film is pretty staggering. I think any student with that amount of money would be extremely proud to come out with a film as good as Saw. So I love that film, and I think the sequels were just diminishing returns as we went through. And it really got downhill towards the later sequels, like 3D in particular. Saw 7 was just not good at all. Saw 10 is decent. Saw 10 is decent. Maybe a bit nasty, a bit gory, little bit too much at times where it's just like slightly difficult to watch. But I did like the more personal story with John Kramer, especially the whole opening with the reason why he takes these people who have given him the fake treatment and stuff. It's really despicable people, and you kind of like that he pulls them up on this, and it goes in some pretty dark directions from then on. But it's interesting how it's done. I think it's a decent film, and it was definitely worth making. So for fans of the Saw franchise, you will love this one, I'm sure. Next up, Scream 5. Great film. Great film. I'm going to put this in Watch It. I'm on the verge of classic in the making just because I love the Scream franchise so much. But I'm going to put Watch It. Really, really good sequel. After so many years, I think it upped its game from number 4. Obviously came back with the radio silence guys. Thought they brought a really nice tone to it. Made it feel modern, but still being cool. It didn't feel like a dated film where it was kind of just trying to retread what Wes Craven did. Loved the kind of return of these characters. Loved the way their arcs play out. And I loved the introduction of the 2 girls as well. You know, Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega's characters were fantastic. And it's a damn shame what happened with that. Like all the issues they had outside of the movie, just publicly with the media attention and stuff. And the fact that we're never going to find out what happens. It's a bit of a shame because I liked the way the direction of these movies are going. Scream 6 as well, I'm putting in Watch It. Not quite as good as 5, but still solid. I think this movie is really solid up until the final act. I think the reveals in Scream 6 are a bit iffy. Just a bit over the top, a bit ridiculous, and a bit like, wait, what's going on? I wasn't entirely sure about that. Though most of the reveals throughout the Scream franchise after the original are a bit far-fetched and a bit of a stretch, but particularly with 6 I did notice it, especially over 5. So not quite as good, but still solid. I really enjoy it. Sinners. Come on, this for me is going up in classic in the making. Messing up everything. This to me is easily one of the best films we've had in the last few years. This is probably my favourite film of the year so far. I absolutely loved Sinners, and it came out after a pretty grim and crappy winter when movies were looking a bit rubbish at the start of this year. And you know, I'd gotten sick the week I went to see this before I saw it, and I was just feeling like, what is the point right now? And I went out that Friday as I was recovering to go and see Sinners, and I was like, damn, movies are back. And I ended up going to see this 3 times at the cinema. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. Great cast, great original vampire story. The music in it is just phenomenal. It's quite an experience. I'm really glad I got to experience this one in the cinema. It's definitely one of my favourite films of the last few years. You know, some people try and bring it down by saying, oh, don't believe the hype, it's not that good. No, I'm sorry. If you love movies and you like horror movies, this is an awesome movie. It's worth a watch all day long. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, right at the top for me. Oh God, who remembers this film? Skinrink from a few years ago. I'm actually going to put this one in junk. Again, feel a bit bad about putting low budget movies right down at the bottom there, where the director is obviously a bit of a passion project. Skinrink is truly an unpleasant watch though. If you took all the best moments from that film and combined it, you'd probably get a good 6-minute short that I could maybe give a 3 out of 5 rating. As it stands though, the movie is painful to watch. It's dull, it's irritating, stylistically it doesn't work. It's like an art house film that just does not land or connect whatsoever. And the people that like it are really reaching, in my opinion, with their reviews on that film. It was painful to watch. So no, absolutely not. Another one I do not understand. This is going straight down and skip it. That is Thanksgiving. I don't understand what people see in this movie. This is the Eli Roth film, Thanksgiving, a slasher movie. I'm not that big on Eli Roth. I think Cabin Fever's fun. I think the Hostel movies are okay for what they are, a bit nasty, but you know, they're interesting in their own way. This was supposedly a big return to form for Eli Roth, and I couldn't disagree more. This to me was another clunky, awkward, badly acted slasher movie from Eli Roth. He always puts a lot of weird shit in his movies. I never really get the chemistry between the characters. It's a lot of violence for the sake of it. And also, obviously they're going to have violence for the sake of it, but he really does try and go out of his way to just be like, oh, look at how gross out I can be in this scene. And it just doesn't land. You know, I don't remember now who the killer was. Like the reveal of the killer, I literally don't remember. Waste of time, that film, in my opinion. I don't know what people say in that. Black Phone, first film I ever reviewed on my channel. Please don't watch that review. But this is a good film. It's a Stephen King story. Liked the direction of it. They are bringing out a second one, which I'll be intrigued to see. I'm kind of on the verge between one off and watch it. I haven't gone back to it, which makes me think I'm probably set on more of a 3 out of 5. But loved Ethan Hawke's performance. Thought that was great. It's just got a few little things that are a bit offish about it. Again, I don't know. It's good. It's good. It's just nothing special, I would say. It's pretty much it's like It, but not quite as good. It's a bit more of a lackluster version of the vibe of It, is the best way I can describe that one. Good film, though. Next up, we've got The Conjuring Last Rites. I'm actually going to put that in skip here. I think the Conjuring and Annabelle franchises well and truly run out of steam. I've seen the trailer for the new one, and it doesn't look that good, if I'm being frank. The first one, brilliant, really well done. The second film is really solid as well. And after that, James Wan leaving it, doing his own thing. I just feel like we're getting diminishing returns. So the stories are getting less captivating, less interesting. The scares are less effective now. And it's run its course, hasn't it, this universe? It really has, and just more of it. And this one was just underwhelming. It was not a bad film, but it's just forgettable. Watch the first two and you're done, I think. So next up here, we're leaving the good ones for last here. We've got The Invisible Man. This is classic in the making for me. Absolutely love this movie. I think it's a great take on a person overcoming kind of domestic abuse, and a great showcase for like the sort of paranoia and difficulties there are getting out of a very toxic relationship like that. I love the way that's handled here, and I love the horror and kind of sci-fi aspect of the movie as well. I think it's really well directed by Leigh Whannell. Great performance from the lead. Her name is not coming to me right now. What is her name? I can't think. Can't think of her name right now, but great actress. And yeah, love the whole kind of twist in the story. I love the way it plays out. Great atmosphere. Just really well done. Really well done film. I've seen it a number of times now, and I just think it's very clever how it's handled. It went in direction I didn't expect, and it's got a particular jump scare in this, which literally made me jump out of my skin. The scene in the attic, I won't say just in case you haven't seen it, but wow, that scene is insane. So yeah, one of the big highlights of the 2020s. And again with The Substance, cracking film. I'm actually going to put this in Watch It, not quite full classic in the making for me. But I watched it again since, and I think it's still really good. I think watching it for the first time, it does have a novelty about it. It's kind of a throwback to kind of Cronenberg-style body horror films, and it is creative, and the social commentary is like being hit over the head, but in the best way possible. And I do think it's a really good look and kind of takedown of the Hollywood industry and its treatment of actresses and women in talent and media and stuff. And yeah, it's really well done. It's a bizarre, insane film. I love how extreme it is. Love the performances of the two leads. It's a great film. Just for me, these top 5 are the ones that I'm going to go back to time and time again. Love it. So guys, that is my tier list for horror movies from the 2020s. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the movies, where you put them, and let me know what you thought of this video as well. This is a bit of an experiment for me, doing a tier list. I love watching them, and I always think they look like a lot of fun to do, so I thought I'd have a go. So let me know what you thought of the video down below. I'll do more if you guys enjoy these. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on this for 2020's horror. I'm sure I'll update this again later down the road as we come up to 2030. Let's not wish away time, but you know how fast it goes. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Like and share the video if you're enjoying my content. Take care, and I'll see you next time.